What's up, Trash Talkers? Here at Veteran Trash Talk, we actually vet our sponsors. We don't just take their money and run like a Butter Bar Lieutenant lost on the land nav course. Are you finally ready to plant your flag and claim your territory? Maybe it's time to use that VA loan to buy a home. Or hell, maybe you're looking to refinance and put some extra cash in your pocket for more questionable life decisions. Either way, the Veterans Mortgage Source, powered by Canopy Mortgage, has your six. Look, buying a home or refinancing can feel like getting overrun on a bad op. Chaotic, confusing, and full of obstacles that make no damn sense. That's where Corey and his team come in. They're like the QRF of home loans, ready to pull you out of the chaos and guide you to the best program for you. And trust me, they'll answer all your questions. Yeah, even the dumb ones. Whether you're a salty vet or fresh out of barracks still trying to figure out where your TA-50 went. Great service, solid rates, and a team that actually understands the military life. That's why all of us here at Veteran Trash Talk trust them to do right by every veteran in their family. Ready to lock it in? Give Corey a call or shoot him a text at 808-699-7874. That's 808-699-7874. Don't wait. Unless you like overpaying and getting treated like an FNG. The Veterans Mortgage Source is powered by Canopy Mortgage, LLC. All loans are subject to credit and property approval.
Hey, happy Wednesday, mental health warriors. Hopes everybody's having a great Wednesday. I can't talk today. I've had a very long day today. I'll get into that here in a little bit. I was supposed to have a guest on today, but they flaked out. But hey, that's okay. It happens. What can you do, right? They wanted to come on the show. I agreed, sent them the email. They never responded. So maybe they got busy with life. Who knows? But hey, before I jump into all that, well, I'm going to go around the horn here with our sponsors. But along with that, Reason Across America is really great with what they do during the holiday season to ensure that the veterans there are memorialized. And so you can very easily donate money, or you can personalize a wreath if you want. Just scan that QR code and they'd be more than happy to follow the steps. Go to the website. They have many fundraisers going on now to ensure that that mission continues. It's really great, wonderful with what they do. Along with that, and if you don't know, and you should know, if you listen to my podcast, that Reason Across America has a radio show also. And so Reason Across America Radio, we play my podcast Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Super easy to find. Just download the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or the Odyssey app and search for Reason Across America Radio for not only this great podcast, the Mental Health Warrior, but all the great programs that they have on during the week. And so check them out. It's really great. They play some really, kick butt music. They really support the veteran community. And so give them a look-see. Along with that, I talk about it all the time with 10th Mountain Whiskey and Spirit. I am coming to the States. I think I leave here in May 6th to head back to the States for a month. My son's graduated from college, and I have some other things to do, so I will be placing an order with 10th Mountain Whiskey. Got to get the stuff back to my friends here in Italy. They love the cordial. It's totally amazing. We'll throw the website out there also with the QR code so you can save some money. Thank you, Chris. He just posted that right there, 10thmountainwhiskey.com. Use the code VTT to save you a little bit of money. If you watched the video before the podcast started, Veterans Mortgage, powered by Canopy Mortgage, just scan that QR code. Mortgage rates are probably going to come down with the new Fed chair. So you might want to start looking at it. Or maybe you just got some general questions about your VA loan. But you know what? Scan that. Give it a look-see. They'll be more than happy to help you with it. Any questions that you have, absolutely. Along with that, you have PCS Paradise. If you're still active duty military, you'd be in PCS into Hawaii. Scan that QR code. They'll be more than happy to help you out. I know they did help out some of my friends here. You guys listened to me talk about them before. So give them a scan that and have them look-see to go. Hey, what's going on? So, as I said, I was supposed to have a guest today. The guest didn't show up. Hey, Brian, how you doing? And that's fine. That's okay. It happens. And so, I was trying to figure out what to talk about tonight. And as you guys know, I retired, as a CW4, turned down promotion to CW5 to retire. COVID kind of, I wouldn't say COVID kind of killed my career, more so as I would say that COVID made me realize maybe I wanted to do something different in my life. Along with that, as you guys know, of course, I wind up here in Italy. I really enjoying Italy and my time here and exploring new things. I think, when you go through a lot of crap, whether it's, in your service, PTSD, any type of trauma you go through, sometimes it's okay to go and look back and reflect back. And that's what I want to talk about tonight is, really how do I deal with when I go into dark places or dark spaces? And I think that's important because when everything's going fine and hunky dory and all the wheels are rolling and man, you wake up in the morning and you feel great and everything's just going great, right? But then they turn south for whatever reason. And then how do you start dealing with that? And do you deal with it differently than what you did before? And I was thinking about that today when the guest flicked out on me. And I was thinking, how do I handle my dark places differently now than what I did before? How do I keep my mind, which is, as you guys know, the only thing we can control in our life is your mind. You can only control your thoughts, but you let your thoughts control you. And so, how do I change, or how have I changed that as my life's gone on after my unaliving event, back in 2002, and all the issues and problems I've had after that, and I've had a lot of them. My life has not always been hunky dory. My life's, pretty much had some difficulties. Sometimes, mostly by my decisions on things. We all make poor decisions in our life. Um, and sometimes those poor decisions lead to dark times in your life. But you have to admit that maybe that stuff happened because it was my fault and not somebody else's, right? It can't always be somebody else's fault. But sometimes we just want to blame somebody else because it's easier. I know in my life that a lot of the problems that I've had, whether it's a personal life, professional life, or whatever, some of those were caused by me, one, being young and silly, or two, just not making good choices, whether it's a moral choice, whether it's the choice that you thought was good at the time, or maybe you just really didn't give a flying crap at the time and just did whatever you wanted to do. But sometimes doing the right thing is the hard thing. And so we take the easy way road, which isn't always the best road to go. And so, to think about that and to really look at yourself and self reflect on what happened on my darkest times and how would I deal with that differently now, knowing what I know now. I know with my suicide attempt that I had back in 2002 and that road that led me to that path, what would I do different nowadays? Simple. I would talk about it. I would talk about with somebody what I felt. I would talk about with somebody why I felt the way I was feeling because I kept everything internal to me. And I think for a lot of veterans, especially men, we do that. We keep things internal to ourselves. I have a hard time expressing my feelings. I have a hard time expressing things that are deep down inside of me back in 2002. And I think for a lot of reasons, that's really kept me from finding joy in my life. Last podcast, I talked about the difference between joy and happiness and, the difference between the two. And I was kind of shocked when Gronk kind of went down that road with you guys. And so as I look back on my dark places in my life, so, I went through, of course, 9/11, 2002, my suicide attempt, what led up to that. And then after I got out of the hospital and I was in recovery, I decided that I had to become important and not my career at that time. And so then I focused on myself. And that helped me get through that situation. But as in life, as you know, you get in relationships, you get in bad relationships. And, when you're going through a breakup in a relationship, it can be hard. And yes, right there's Brian, you would have to find somebody to talk to. And so I dated this girl for a long time, and then we split up, and it was a hard breakup. And when you're in a relationship, and if anybody knows me, they'll tell you this: I have two boys, and I'm the father that me and Lloyd now. He started baseball, but after dinner we go out for 30, 40 minutes and 45 minutes or whatever. And I throw the ball to him, I pitch to him, we play catch, I have him practice batting. He likes to be a catcher, so I pitch to him. Always very involved with not only my kid's life, always has been. I've always been a kid person, and anybody will tell you that they don't know anything about me. And I always take Lloyd on his half days. I take his friends to the mall to drive go karts, or we go to the beach. Or I'm always doing something because for one, I enjoy it, and two, they enjoy it. And so, when you're in a relationship with somebody and they have a child, right? And I treat all children the same, but you become very close to that child, and then when you break up, that child is no longer in your life, and that's very sad. And I think for a lot of men out there, they really don't voice the pain that they feel when that happens, because especially if you're going close to the child, and it makes it hard when that occurs, because then when it happens, you really don't want to date somebody that has a child because you don't want to be hurt again. And that's hard to explain to somebody. And I think anybody out there who's listening, who's been through the same, position, that's hard to get over, because you can't do, anything. And so then you avoid certain relationships. And so that kind of took me down a path, and you get over it. And then you kind of, steer clear. And then, I got in a relationship where my oldest son, we got married, and when he was 2, I deployed to Iraq, and anybody knows that deployments are very hard on marriages, that they're already shaky ground anyway. And so that turned into a 7-year nightmare of divorcing and custody and spending money for attorneys and dealing with the mental abuse that my son was being subject to from her, and all kinds of stuff. And that's hard to deal with. And so then you throw work involved with it. And I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast. I don't remember. But when I came out of Iraq, I had this really strange disease run around in my body. I think I did talk about it, but it kind of messed up my foot, and I couldn't run or walk. Yeah.
Cliff, hold on.
Yeah.
I got a surprise for you.
Okay. Oh, who's this?
Hi.
Oh, hey, Anna. I didn't know you were. I didn't know you were coming on. Nobody responded to my emails.
Oh, I am so sorry. I got this forwarded and it seemed like it was confirmed. So my apologies if I dropped it unannounced. Hopefully this still works.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sure. I was just, we'll switch gears. I had emailed, who was it? Is it Brian?
Yeah.
Yep. I emailed him yesterday to email me your information to write all the promos and stuff, and I never heard anything from him. And so I figured something happened. You guys weren't coming on the show.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I'll check in with him and chase that down.
And then, of course, you got the link, so he must have saw the email because you wouldn't have had a link. But that's okay, no problem. Miscommunications happen. So we're about 14 minutes into the program. We're about 30 minutes left. So just so everybody who's listening to what I was talking about before, I will jump back into that conversation and dealing with dark places in your life and what you do when you go there. And so, Anna, since you're here now, could you please introduce yourself to my audience and tell them all about you, and we'll just kind of jump right into it.
Love it. Thank you. Delighted to be on, and thanks so much for having me. So I'm Anna Redmond, and I'm the founder of Brav and our Allcoin platform. And our goal is to help veterans, active duty folks, first responders bring their challenge coins online and share them in a way that is beautiful, looks great, and lets them interact within the community. And we're also the very first to have created the blockchain challenge coin that can serve as a digital twin to existing challenge coins and hold the story and the narrative of how those coins were earned.
Oh, very nice. So it's not an actual physical coin; it's a blockchain coin, with we trade Bitcoin and stuff. Did I understand that correctly?
So you're definitely spot on. It's the same blockchain, right? The blockchain's like a public ledger. The difference is that we're using it to basically keep the parts of the challenge coin that we see as being super valuable and subject to being lost, which for us is like the story around it, right? There are two pieces of the coin. There's like the physical metal that you hold in your hand, but then there's the why. Why did you get it? Who gave it to you? Was it earned for membership? Like you just joined SEAL Team 6, or was there an event that happened? And so we're actually using the public ledger to keep a record of all of that stuff that sometimes people forget, right? And I've talked to folks with like these beautiful, massive walls of challenge coins behind them. And they'll point out a coin and say, oh, this one, man, I wish I could remember the last name of the gentleman that gave it to me. So that's why we're here.
What a very interesting idea, and what a very interesting thing to do, because that's something that people throughout their military career do receive those coins, and sometimes we do forget why did I get this coin, or what or those kinds of things.
Yeah, and then the other piece of it, honestly, is for the families, because we've talked to older veterans, right? Vietnam, Korea, World War II even, who have said like, gosh, when I'm no longer here, my grandkids will have no clue what these coins are. They'll have no clue what they were for. And some of those events, I think all of those events deserve to live on at the very least in family memory and honestly in public memory.
So hang on a second, because I had my mind switching to something else. I gotta switch back to
No, thank you. And I'm sorry for crashing the
Oh, no, that's fine. So, can you tell my audience a little bit about you personally, a little bit more, and then I want to circle back around to the coins, and just kind of go from there, because I just kind of let them know kind of your story. Did you? I don't remember. I have to go back and read what Blake sent me, so I didn't get a bio on you. So I'm sorry for that. So.
No problem. Yeah. So I am not a veteran, not a first responder, and this definitely a little bit of a fish out of water story. I have a couple of degrees from Harvard. I worked on the investment side for a number of years, and then I'm one of those people that thinks that I have a better way to do things. And so if you kind of have your own vision, at some point you find your way into entrepreneurship. Although I think it's that quote of you'd rather work 60 hours a week for yourself because you don't want to work 40 for someone else.
Oh, absolutely.
I sometimes like to make things harder for myself just because I think that I have a better way to do it. So I founded, so out of that, I founded a very different company with a co-founder. We focused on thought leadership for Fortune 500s. And in 2020, when that wound down, I became really interested in the question of how the general public interacts with private security and what options exist from the customer side. And I had gone through and heard a number of stories from friends and folks in the business community of the struggles that they were having. And it interested me enough that I dug in and began to research. And I knew next to nothing about physical security. I felt like I knew a lot about customer pain points. And so I approached it from that angle. And during that process, really for the first time in my life, I was surrounded by veterans, active duty folks, first responders, and I just really fell in love with the ethos of that community. And I'll tell you, pre that experience, what I knew about veterans and police officers were what I had read in the Washington Post. So that's a very, very particular, right, point of view. It was changed and transformed in all sorts of wonderful ways. And so I learned a ton. I think I had a lot of my assumptions challenged, which was a very good thing. Really came out with I had already had a very deep respect for those that serve our country, but I think that doubled and tripled and quadrupled when I actually sat with these folks, heard their stories, and also was the recipient of a lot of kindness, a lot of help, a lot of giving. And during that process is when folks first began to give me challenge coins. And at first I was like, whoa, this is so cool. What the heck is it? I've never even heard of it. Now, of course, I know over 30 million Americans, right? Like 1 in 10 have some kind of challenge coin. And there's a bigger community, that community grows when you look at the world outside of the US. But at the time, I just wanted to learn more about it. So I would always be asking, what are your favorite coins? How did you get them? What's the story behind it? And that was when it just sort of hit me like a ton of bricks that the stories are what's important and the stories are also what's fragile. And we began to ideate and really had a lot of conversations about the value of preserving the stories. And it's like a tree, right? There are so many different branches. And one of those, a big one, I think, is really fostering and building community. I talked to a lot of folks about suicide, about what life looks like after deployment, when you return from deployments. And we kept coming back to, the more that we can do to make these communities more accessible and easier to find and easier to reconnect with, the better we've built something that's not just a company, that's something that's really feeding and sustaining the veteran community.
And that's really amazing because as a veteran myself, I served 34 years. That's really nice because, like I said, it's for the families of the veterans, but also for them to look at the coin, to reflect it, to tell that story, to know that story is going to be kind of preserved out there for others to see. Sometimes can be a healing process, and I was just talking about deployments and marriages and things like that for you, John. Because it's the good and the bad, right? But a lot of times when somebody receives that coin, that challenge coin, it's something good, right? And so now they're remembering something good. It might have been related to something bad, but it ended obviously something good. And I think to have that memory of something good that happened, even though there were 6 other bad things that happened, just to have to be able to tell that one good thing for a veteran, I think really helps him. And so kind of tell the audience, I think was it allcoin dot
Brav.co. Allcoin, ALLCOIN.brav, BRAAV.co.
.co. Okay, I'll post that. So if like myself wants to go in and start that process with you, can you kind of explain how that process works when they log into your website? And I'll share the website and kind of talk through it on how to go about doing that. Is there a cost associated with it? Is it how do they get access to it? Those kinds of things, so they kind of get an idea of what it would take if they wanted to start this process.
Yeah, thank you for asking. I love that question. So when you head over to the site, there's actually a waiting list. However, if you mention this podcast in the notes, I will take you off of the waiting list immediately, and you can get access. And then once you've done that, you create a profile, and you can upload your coins. And there's an easy place on the site where you can do that. And to upload your coins, really, you just need an image of the front and back. You can do that on a phone. You can do that on a desktop. The phone cameras tend to be a little bit better. And
Yeah.
once you've uploaded the image on our end, we strip the background, we put the front and the back together so that it turns in space. And you can go ahead and input whatever you remember. And you can do that later too if you want to put a bunch of images in
Are
first.
you limited on how much you can write about it, or can you write?
That's
Is
a
it a
great question.
paragraph? Is it 500 words? 1,000 words? Is it?
We have some kind of limit. I'm not 100%
Okay.
sure what it is. I think it's a couple paragraphs. But if we get demand for longer screens to kind of input that, we can extend it. That's not hard for us. And then once you've done that, you can share the coin on your LinkedIn, on your Facebook. There's a handy link, and you can also share your coin profile, which is a page that has your name, your photo, and then just all the coins that you have. That you've chosen to make public, because we actually have a private setting in case you'd like us to save a coin for you that for whatever reason is something that you're not ready to share with the world yet. And then the other piece of it, so this part so the first part is completely free to everyone, and I would love everyone to come and use it. The second part is minting. So if you want to mint a digital coin, and to either have that be the twin of a physical coin or a standalone digital coin, you can make a mental health warrior coin. We love to help.
That's my extra trademark that you see on the screen with the Phoenix and everything. So
Absolutely. So if you choose to do that, then we would talk offline. There's a cost associated with that.
Sure.
You'd apply for vetting, and we're gating that to organizations that we've talked to and we know who they are, because one of the concerns in launching the platform is we don't want some random person in a basement to go and make a bunch of digital coins that say CIA on them and then hand them out.
Yeah.
I'm representing
So there's
the
a
CIA.
little bit of screening and background. I mean, not screening, but screening going on just to make sure that somebody's not doing things they're not supposed to. Because veterans, we'll try to do something that because we'll think it's funny.
Yeah, and we want to be as open as possible, but obviously we want to gate a little bit, and there's a little bit of content control. So obviously the coins need to be appropriate, but we haven't had that issue yet, and I hope we don't. Yeah. And then if you're an issuer, once you've made your digital coins, we have a beautiful interface for you to send them out. And the really special thing is the digital coins, you can actually add media to them. So if you made a mental health warrior coin, you could add a highlight reel of your favorite podcasts. You could do a little intro of you talking and saying, this is what this coin represents. I give it out to people who, impress me, are exceptional guests like Anna, except they're more punctual.
Right.
And they actually respond to emails. So that's how the system works. And we have a ton of features in the pipeline. We are rolling out new ones every week, and we're also still in beta, which means it's pretty darn good.
So you're still in the testing phase right now, still, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty darn good. It's not perfect. I have zero ego, and
that's why it's in beta.
Exactly. And so if you or any of your listeners test it and hate something, please send me an email and tell me. Or if you test something and it's broken, or you can't figure out how it works, or you have an idea for a great feature, I want to hear all of it and would be just profoundly grateful. And my email is Anna, ANNA, @Braav, BRAAV.co.
And I posted. And so now if they want to go do that, then they just become part of the beta testing for the system. Are you going to develop an app at some point?
Yeah, so I wouldn't even call it beta testers. Like, we're live. We actually have paying clients. We have issuers that are on the platform. We just were the platform for the challenge coin for the Military Creator Conference just last week, which I was super excited about. So definitely not testing at this point. It's live, but I would call it improving.
Well, on the back end, you're testing. I mean, the people you don't see it, but yeah, I get that.
Exactly. Continual improvement is the goal.
Yeah. Well, that is really cool. And so now, how long has this project been going on, that you started with all coins? And has I'm assuming that the veterans have kind of gravitated to it. But then my next question is, if a family member has coins of somebody of a veteran who maybe isn't here, and they have
Yeah.
questions about that coin, is there any, like they can go on and look at, maybe ask you questions, or the research capability to find, okay, why did my uncle or my dad get this coin? What does this mean? Um,
I
or
love
am I
that
asking
question.
something that doesn't exist? I'm just asking questions at this point.
I love that question because that was actually something we thought about. So right now we're adding tons of users and we're adding tons of coins, right? And so we're actually, I think we will soon have the biggest sort of coin book that
Yeah,
exists in one place. And currently, if the coin is public, it's open to the public. So that means that if you go on our site, you can actually just go to, we're calling it Coin Forum. We might rename
yeah.
it, but you click on Coin Forum and then you click on digital coins and then you can just scroll. And when you find a coin, you can actually click and see who uploaded it.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so if you and you can search, our search is not amazing yet. We're going to improve it with AI, but you could search for
Sure,
basic
sure,
stuff
sure,
like
sure.
canine handler or marine coin or whatever. And so if someone finds a coin and they match it and they're like, oh my gosh, like this was my grandfather's coin or this was my dad's coin or my uncle's, they absolutely, well, they could always message us. I would love to help chase anything like that down. That would actually feel really special for us to be able to help on that journey. But they could also directly message the owner of the similar coin. And
Hmm.
even as new as we are, like we're literally 2.5 months into this launch,
Yeah.
we're already having people make connections and say like,
Oh,
oh,
nice.
you served in the same unit or you were part of this group that coordinated this rescue. I did that 20 years ago. And what's beautiful about that is that people have this shared point of connection and they can talk about
Yes.
it. And some of the things, like I'm sure you've had this experience of these things people have shared, like I want to talk, but I need someone who has that experience to talk to them about it because
Yes.
other people just don't understand.
Yeah. And that's a big problem with veterans, and that's why so many suffer in silence. Is that we don't want to open up to people because, for several reasons. One, we don't want to spend 2 hours trying to explain every little part of the story. And most veterans, if you use an acronym, or if you say this, or you say I was in OIF this, or OEF this, or this, you automatically understand that. And also too, I think giving that, with certain wars at certain times in society wasn't, obviously frowned upon, like the Vietnam veterans and things like that. And so they didn't talk about their service. But it's really nice, and I talk about this in a mental health warrior, is it's important to start the conversation. And if a coin starts a conversation, great, right? Because just like you were saying, within the community, hey, I got this coin. Oh, I got this coin too. They may find out they could have been in the same unit and didn't know each other, or in the same company. It's a possibility.
100%. Another thing I've heard from people, they've shared like, gosh, maybe so and so's widow has this coin. Like, I'd love to connect with her. Like, someone who meant a whole lot to me lost his life, this many years ago, and I haven't been able to or haven't been able to track down the kids and the spouse. So yeah, I think there are a lot of opportunities that are beautiful and additive. And to that effect, we're starting to build things like coin gated communities or coin gated events where like if you have
Yeah.
this coin, you can join this group, you have this coin, you can join this event. So that's been fun. And I'll ask you this on air and kind of put you on the spot. We've been asked for a way to like react to the coins, right? Like if I see a coin I like, I want to hit something. What
Mhm.
do you think is better? Hearts, thumbs up, emojis, or like some sort of star system where if you see one of my coins and you love it, what would you want to click?
I think probably a thumbs up for me.
Yeah.
But I think if you did the stars, then people might think, oh, well, why did they only give me 3 stars for this great coin that I got, right? or why is it only 5? What, you know what I'm saying? Because how they like the Yelp ratings and things like that. Um, but you could do. I guess you could do thumbs up. I don't know. I asked the audience out there, hey, anybody out there listening, what do you think she ought to do if somebody likes a coin? But I think thumbs up would be easy to do. Yeah. So what are you guys thinking? What were you guys thinking about?
Uh, we were thinking about honestly, honestly, I think right now if you go on the site, it's hearts, and I've had
Yeah,
feedback that it was like, I don't know if everyone's going to want to heart coins, so,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think that we might change that. So if
yeah,
anyone's like very very put off by the hearts, keep in mind that we can pull that off.
yeah. I could see that, because most of the veterans are gonna be guys anyway, right? Just because we're a larger
Sure.
population. Yeah, Brian says thumbs up, but I think the thumbs up would be good. Thumbs up, thumbs down. And of course, is it going to be a thumbs up with comment or just a thumbs up?
See, that's a great question. I was thinking just a thumbs up, but maybe with comment. And then do you want more nuance? Like, do you want to thumbs down a coin? Would you ever thumbs down a coin? I heard from some people that they're like, there are so many rivalries, obviously, that if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see a
yeah. Because
coin from a group,
they would start gisting with each other. I could totally see that.
yeah. So that's fun. And by the way, all of that is like growing in front of our eyes, and it's so exciting to
Yeah,
just to learn as an outsider, to learn like what does the community want, and to
yeah.
then be of service and build that feature set.
So far, I don't know, because you jumped right in. There's a chat bar on the right hand side of your screen. You can click on it, and you'll see the chat that people are live streaming coming in at. And so
Oh,
so far, we got 2 thumbs up for the thing, or 3 thumbs up actually. So
oh, I see a thumbs up with a smiley face and
yeah,
glasses. Do we want
yeah.
both of those?
And then you see where I shared your website, so people can go in there and check that out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool. I did not realize this was from the audience.
Yeah, so when you see me looking down at my phone, I'm answering questions on my social media because I broadcast I think over 8 different social medias we broadcast over
Oh, that's
during the live
fabulous.
show. Yeah,
I love
and
it.
so Chris in the background, the producer who brought you in, he's monitoring the sites also too. So and then on the left hand side we have the private chat that only we can see down at the bottom. So yeah,
This is
see,
very snazzy. I love it. See, and this
yeah.
this is great. You're helping me do market research. I'm going to crash your show more often anytime I have questions.
Yeah, you're just gonna jump from that. You got the link, right? Just jump on in and say, "Hey," go. But you know what? It's fine. It's great, right? It doesn't bother me none. And just like in life, you just never know when things are gonna change or pop up, right? It doesn't always have to be a bad thing, right? It could be a good thing. We don't always have to think bad things are gonna happen to us.
Exactly. I like to think so. I'm having a blast. But yeah, no, this is so helpful. The ad hoc market research. I'll ask you one more thing that we've been debating internally is marketplace. Um, we think that we've been getting requests to create a marketplace so that groups can sell coins. So the vision would be like, Los Angeles Fire Department is having a fundraiser. We make the digital coin and maybe a physical coin as well through a partner, and they can sell it on our site. But
Yeah,
we've been trying to figure out, is there a lot of appetite for people to resell coins or not really?
yeah. I don't know if there is or not. I have no idea. If anybody out there listening knows, just throw it up there. And no, I'm not. So you're saying that to physically sell their coin that they
Yeah.
got?
Well, not necessarily, right? So we have so
Or you talking about
one use
selling the digital coin that you guys create?
So we could do both, right? Conceivably, we could set ourselves up to help people resell both at the same time, right? So
Okay.
if they have a physical coin with a digital twin, you could sell both. I guess you could split them and just sell one. But the other thing is there may be just digital coins that people want to resell, or just physical coins.
Oh, okay. And so if somebody like myself who says, okay, I'm the mental health warrior, I want to have my own digital coin, do I have to do the design myself, or do you guys help them with the design of that digital coin? Is it on their website? Is there where they can design the coin themselves, or do I have to have it designed, or do I just give you like, I have my mental health warrior Phoenix. That's my registered trademark. Do I just send that into you and say, here, make this coin, or do I have to make it before I send it to you? That makes sense.
Yeah, that's a great question. We've had both. I think what we found
Okay.
more often is people have they have an idea of what they want. And if they have an idea and they have like a partial design, we can help take it across the finish line. We do use a lot of AI in our designs. And so there are
Yeah.
organizations that have purchased digital coins from us where we've gone ahead and done the design on a couple of different AIs and they've sort of picked which one they like. So it's early days for us. We're really happy to help with the design if that's something that makes the difference between getting you across the finish line to do a coin versus not.
Mhm.
Do you have a logo that you like?
Oh, that's my logo. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I can. The mental health warrior. I have the phoenix in the background with the fire. That's the color of the blues.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Our faces are blocking.
Let's see. I have to look on business cards. That's my logo.
Beautiful. I mean that I think would make for a beautiful coin.
Yeah, so that's my registered trademark, and then the little cloud coming off the phoenix foot. If you don't know, that's Chinese for good luck.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I
So
love
that
that.
so that's my registered trademark. Yeah. So yeah, it'd make it a nice coin, I think.
It would make a stunning coin. I'd be honored to have that on our site.
I'll have to look into it. I don't know if you know this, but I actually live in Italy.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I live in Naples, Italy. I'm going on my third year living in Italy, so it's like 11:30 my time here, which is fine. I'm used to it, but that's why we normally start the podcast at 5 p.m. But on May 6th, I'm going back to the States. My son's graduated from college and some other things going on. So yeah, so I love Italy. I love living here.
What brought you there?
My wife is still active duty Navy. She promoted to 06. And they said, "Hey, we're going to send you to Italy." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Right. I retired a couple of years ago, so I'm here as a dependent. So it's been quite fun, quite interesting. We've traveled all around Italy. I've worked in an Italian restaurant as a chef. I never did that before, so I did that. Yep. So I always tell people, no matter how old you are, never be afraid to try new things.
That's
So my good
incredible.
friend Pepe and I were starting a local touring company to do tours around Naples. So just doing a lot of fun things. It's like with
Oh,
your altcoins, right?
that's phenomenal. I was in Sicily a couple of years ago for a wedding.
Oh, nice.
Italy is stunning. I'm very jealous. I'd love to be living there.
Yes, and so
What
I
was
have a younger
it?
son that's 11, and he's actually next year going to go to the international school at Lago Patria, and so we're looking at staying here at least in some way, shape, or form for a very long time. And then over spring break, not to jump into this, will be a wrap the show up, but I went back to Greece and actually found my ancestors' home in Gaia, Greece, because I originally came from Greece, and I found my grandmother's house that she walked out of 105 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
And so now I'm going to start the process of trying to gain ownership of that house again because it's been empty for a very long time.
Oh, that's incredible.
Isn't that incredible?
That's really
And
incredible. How did you track that
I think it was
down?
2 shows ago I talked about that, but I opened up the door that 105 years ago she closed and walked out and never returned.
Oh my gosh.
And then so
And she moved to America?
yeah, they immigrated back to America in 1921.
Oh,
They went to America and they never went back to Greece that I'm
geez.
aware of. So yeah, but that
Yeah.
was a lot of fun.
Oh, I got
But
chills here.
yeah, it's good to tie back to your roots, right? And so
Yeah.
what's amazing is AI helped me pinpoint exactly where the house was because we didn't know. We just had stories. And so
Mm-hmm.
I used AI and kind of what I knew about my family to kind of figure out where it was. And then because when families immigrated, both from Italy and from Greece to the United States back then, they changed the spelling of their names. And so
Mm-hmm.
my Greek name spelling had changed 3 different times.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to the town Gaia and I was talking to the priest there at the Greek Orthodox Church, he didn't recognize two of the names, but the third spelling he recognized. He says, "Oh yeah, she lived here. The sister lived here, and the two brothers lived there. Well, the sister was my grandmother, my great great grandmother." Anyway, we kind of went off on a tangent, but that's okay.
Oh,
But
no,
hey,
that's beautiful. It's part of the same story, right? It's storytelling, right? It's like why we're building the coin platform.
and so me and my 11-year-old son, there's a picture of us standing in front of the house. You go to my social media, it's out there. But we took a rock from the house and I broke it up in little pieces. And when I go back in May, I'm going to give to each one of my family members a rock from, we called her Yaya because that's Greek for grandmother. But yeah, my Yaya's house. Yeah.
Oh,
And then my
hey,
grandmother, I'm going to go to the grave and put a rock on her grave.
that's
So,
amazing. Did you
so
know her well? Was she
I knew my
around a lot?
grandmother well, but my great grandmother, she died when I was 8. So I didn't know her as well.
But you grew up with your grandmother around.
Yeah, I grew up with, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And I'm only one generation removed, so to get my passport for Greece is fairly easy. So,
Oh, that's amazing. And are you now cooking some of the same things that she cooked?
I grew up learning to cook all the Greek food, so I already knew how to cook most of the Greek recipes. And so when I switched to here to Italy to cook the Italian food, and I also do cooking classes here, was not a hard transition.
Mm, that's amazing. I wish I was in Italy so I could take your cooking classes.
I just had a cooking class today. That's why I'm losing my voice. We did
Well,
scaparello and bolognese. Had a small cooking class here, but we cooked the traditional Neapolitan style of scaparello. So.
that sounds amazing. You're making me hungry.
Yeah. If you got on YouTube, there's a video out there on how to make it. But hey, Anna, I want to thank you. We got to wrap this up to coming on the show. Let's get you rescheduled back on again and talk, and we can talk about altcoins and anything else. You've been a really fun guest. I appreciate it. I know snafus happen sometimes, so no big deal there.
Thank you.
There will be. I'll have to rewrite the promo now for Reads Across America Radio. So if you could please have Drake send me a photo, and I'll get that because I have to get it to him tomorrow because they'll run it on Friday. So just get
I'll
that to
do
me.
one better. I'll send it myself right now as soon as we hop on.
Okay, that'll work, and then I'll get it written tomorrow because it's almost midnight here, and then I'll get it to them, and then they'll replay the podcast at Fridays at 8 p.m. And you can access that through iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or the Odyssey app.
Amazing. This has been
Perfect.
such a pleasure. Thank you for being so gracious and bearing with us.
Yep. Hang on for a second. Don't sign off yet. Hey, listen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We kind of shifted gears, but next week on the podcast, I'll go back to what I was talking about at the first part of the show because I think it's an important topic. But with that, as you heard me talk before, you got Reads Across America. You can scan that QR code up there, and for as little as $10, $15, $20, you can have a wreath placed on the tombstone during the Memorial Day season. It's Memorial Day. The holiday season. It's really amazing what they do, and you can also personalize one if you want. But along with that, just like I was telling Anna, Reads Across America Radio, yes, Reads Across America has a radio station. They replay my podcast Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. And it's super easy to find. Just download the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or the Odyssey app, and you search for Reads Across America Radio, not for this great podcast, but all the great podcasts they have on there and all the great support they do for veterans. I talked about also 10 Mountain Whiskey Spirit. You know, I am coming back to the States, so I will order me some whiskey because my Italian friends love the 10th Mountain Whiskey and bourbon. So they love the cordials and love everything. So I got to bring some back with them because I ran out of them. We did share the website for that, along with the Veterans Mortgage. You know, interest rates are probably going to come down. So, hey, scan that for Veterans Mortgage powered by Canopy Mortgage. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have with your mortgages, with your VA loan, anything you have. And if you're still active duty, being PCS to Hawaii, lucky you, first of all. Not quite as good as Italy, but pretty close to go to Hawaii for 3 years. But hey, listen, if you're having trouble finding a home or you want to look for a home to rent while you're there, scan that QR code. They'd be more than happy to have you with that. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I want to thank you for jumping on. I appreciate it. We'll give you back on the show to talk more about altcoins. We did show the website out there, so give it a click, give it a look, see. It's pretty interesting what she's doing. Once I kind of figured out what you were doing with altcoins, I didn't really understand that in the beginning, but that's okay, right? It's all fine. But hey, you guys have a great and wonderful week out there, and just remember, we are our brothers and sisters keepers. So let's look out for each other. Spring can be a hard time with some people with mental health issues. So let's just take that little extra time. It only takes a second to be kind. But thank everybody for tuning in. And Anna, stay on. We're going to close out the show. Then we'll come back on. You and I will talk. Okay. Hey, guys, have a great week. We'll talk later.